G'day guys, welcome to another episode of the Pumped on Property Show. Now in this episode today, I sit down with my brother Simon and one of my best mates in the world, Josh, and we focus on this idea of how to live a happy life while also building wealth. You know, I think in today's convo, I've got a lot more to say on investing than I have to say about happiness. I don't mean to start in a negative way, but you know, I will leave most of the happiness stuff over to you guys, and then I'll talk about those moments in my life where I like chase the butterfly and find it. But, you know, what's your sort of thought process on happiness, Simon? Because you and Josh both maintain flow better than anyone I've ever met.
Yeah, like I think it's what life is all about at the end of the day, like trying to seek out those moments of joy, of happiness, of fulfillment, and you know, it makes me feel so much better than any other experience does. Like, you know, buying that property or getting that car or doing that renovation, all these big things that I've done, like they kind of leave me, there's a feeling of being proud and there's a feeling of like achievement at the end of it, but it doesn't necessarily give me a feeling of happiness, if that makes any sense. So I sort of realized early on, watching Dad go through his journey as a business owner and chasing this external idea of happiness and never achieving it, but then also having like just this great lifestyle. And like, it's those little moments that actually make you happy. It's not the big moments in life. So I think I just kind of lean into that and shine a light on those little moments. And I think that's just the easiest thing because they happen so frequently. Like, you know, just like seeing a cute little bird, or like going for a walk with my son, or catching a great wave, or having a big belly laugh. Like all of these little moments that like you don't necessarily, they kind of serendipitous. They don't necessarily, you can't plan for it. You can't, you know, necessarily seek it out. It just kind of happens to you.
I remember when I caught up with Mia, like one of our family friends years and years ago, and she, at a really young age, from like, I suppose she started to save at about 13 and she paid off her home far out. It must have been 15 years ago now. Like she was very early 20s. And I remember her saying that she thought she'd feel so much better than she did. And she expected someone to walk out and high five. And we've talked about this as well. And I think it's fantastic to achieve all of the things that society or that you or your parents want you to achieve for yourself, to go, it isn't the big moments, although like in those moments you want to be hyper present. And watching that run the other day where that dude ran from like Perth to Sydney, what's that on YouTube at the moment? That legend?
The English bloke?
No, the Aussie fella, like Ned.
Ned.
Yeah. And he just said, coming in, I was so present and aware that this moment will never exist after this point, and to just be right in that pocket. And I think achieving big things is like that. Like it is such a fleeting moment that it's the moment to moment joys that like bring the best happiness.
You hear about all these like sports stars, you know, whether it's, you know, winning the English Premier League or winning the Ashes or winning the Super Bowl or winning the NRL Grand Final. And a lot of the guys that don't act like that, they kind of think that once they achieve that goal, that's when this feeling will come. But then you hear the guys that have got a bit more experience, that have been there multiple times, and they say exactly that you got to kind of like just be ultra present and ultra in the moment just to soak it all in. And I remember on my wedding day, you actually sat me down as my best man in the morning or the night before, and you're just like, hey man, like tomorrow is going to go faster than you can believe. And it's like, if I can just recommend anything, it gives me goosebumps actually remembering this, you know, just to be ultra present at every single moment throughout the day and just soak it all in. And you can do that, right? Like you can take that breath and you can slow life down in those ways when you are just noticing everything rather than just having this narration or this voice in the back of your head that's kind of taking you out of that moment. You know, I think you've got a really good ability to kind of to do that, like, you know, put your mind in the right places at the right time. Like when I talk about those belly laughs, like you're the person that says the joke about 100% of the time.
I definitely think humor is definitely a key to happiness for me. Like, you know, laughing and enjoying time with the people that you're around, like that is critical. But I like your point too, Simon, about it's not necessarily those big, high achievement moments that necessarily cause us the most happiness. Like, I really try to enjoy the transitions in life, the in-between moments. Like, that for me is finding the joy between those, pivotal moments, or if you're working towards something, sometimes the build up there is the best bit. And there's something to just enjoying the process of whatever you're doing. I think it was Hormozy spoke about it. There's a skill to being happy even when you're doing things that you don't enjoy. And I've really been trying to practice that a lot lately, because there are times, being a parent or investing or work and just in life with stuff that is, sometimes it's hard. But if you can enjoy it, then geez, you can have a much better time doing it along the way.
That's so true, man. I think you could elaborate on that as well, because like there's a lot of things that I wrote down here, like consistency and structure and discipline. And it's like a lot of those things most people would kind of look at and be like, oh, that's a bit of a drag. That's hard work. Yeah, it is. Like, how do you make that hard work enjoyable?
I really like Jocko Willink, so the Navy SEAL. Like, he's got his big podcast and stuff. He's got quite the following. He's got that mentality of discipline equals freedom. And I think that's something that you both practice really well with what I've observed as well, is like, okay, what do I need to do? Put all of those mechanisms in place, and then it allows the brain to have that capacity, to enjoy, to be creative, to allow for some spontaneity, because all of those big bricks you have are set in place. So you've got them all and it's set and forget, and that allows you to open up and just enjoy.
The Navy SEALs have just got it figured out, hey, like with their discipline and just doing those things. And I was listening to Huberman and a Navy SEAL this morning on the way into work, and it's how to become unbreakable. And this guy, they start to talk about like how selfish, like externally selfish his morning routine is and what he does. But he's like, if I don't do that, if I don't focus on myself at that time of the day and do the things that are going to get me to the best version of myself, and then it's like, I'm a better husband, I'm a better father, I'm a better employee, I'm a better human being when I've actually done these things as well. And it's like a different way of looking at things, and like, it's not selfish because you're just getting yourself to this high state.
I like that so much. Like, when I was really suffering and I went to the psychologist, he talked about values, and I think that's what we're talking about. And values are tricky to come by unless you are either guided by someone who understands how to find them, or you and I did like something really cool. So I've done the Happiness Trap values. There's a book called The Happiness Trap, which is very helpful. I know you've read it, I've read it. And then there's some cards you can get which help sort the values. But we did some training recently with Nam, the breathwork coach, Mick Fanning's dude. And he gave me like a 10-page sheet to find your values. And you did it recently when you were having a hard week, which is like, I've just sort of, I hope I can openly talk about this.
No, go for it. Yeah, go for it.
The same place that I've hit, you've hit before, it's like I've lost myself on the process somewhere along this way. Like, I'm doing so much that is outside of my true self that I'm a bit lost here right now. And I said, well, here's a place that I started, and you went and did that. And just the identification of what's truly important to my soul, like my spirit, my personality, the awareness of it is almost the start of the new recovery. And then it's like, cool, I can shape my actions around those things that really matter to me.
Yeah, I think about it, like my kids put it so simply, they talk about filling other people's buckets, but I think sometimes you need to fill your own bucket as well. Yeah. And that exercise that we did, like, what makes you you? Like, what makes me Josh? So and then planning out the day in the different quadrants. And I realized when I was getting home, there probably wasn't a part of me that was being the fun, sort of happy me that just likes to play. You sort of get stuck in this serious mode when you're going through tough times and you're really thinking and you're very analytical. It's like, no, I need to be the playful fun me as well. And filling those sections in the afternoons, instead of being just like cranky at the kids and stuff like that, it's like, no, I'm going to play, I'm going to enjoy this. Again, going back to that philosophy of like, yeah, there's hard times, we need to do certain things, but I'm going to enjoy it along the way. And yeah, after I did that session with Ben, it took me a couple of hours, but it was really good to hone back in is who are you and what makes you you, what makes you the best version of yourself. To your point too, Simon, it's like what makes you a better dad, a better husband, better person at work, just a better friend.
Yeah. Something you said, Simon, which I thought was cool, is like happiness, and Hormozy said it too, is a skill. Like, what are some of the things that you put down that enable you to stay like in an optimistic state?
I think we're here with the values conversation right now. I think happiness is living a value-driven life. And society kind of fucks us all up in the way that it's like it
Society.
I shouldn't have.
Society, man. Society.
I literally saw Into the Wild on there before, and I'm like, I've got to add a little bit of Into the Wild into
Oh,
it.
it's so good. So good.
But it's just, the social media, like you're looking at everybody else's best version of their life. And, every single person, they say that every single person that you follow is doing a little bit better than you are. You're never following people that are doing worse than you are. So you're seeing and it's kind of gives you this motivation to get stuck into it. But it just makes it really hard to recognize what truly matters. So I think if you truly live a value-driven life and you understand what those values are, that's naturally going to lead to a happy life. I think that's step number one. It's what are your values? Go read The Happiness Trap. Go download the PDFs that are online from, the 1,000 psychiatrists or psychologists that have done this stuff over the years.
You mean someone's done this?
But for me, it's the 5 Fs. So it's, family, freedom, faith, fitness, and finance.
I love that.
So
Beautiful.
they're my sort of big 5. Family is super simple. It's tiered. So it's your immediate family, my wife, my son, and future kids. Then it's your extended family, my brothers, my sisters, my mum, my dad, my aunties, my uncles, my grandparents, well, lack of grandparents these days, but back in the day. And then it extends out to your friendship group, your closest friends, your fringe friends. But then for me, it extends further out into my local community from there. And I kind of couple all that into family. But I think having that connection for me with my family value is super important, and literally carving out time. I used to have more freedom to live other freedom values prior to having kids, but now that I've got a young kid, it's that is everything. And you guys can relate to this, and everybody that's got children can relate to this, that it's just what matters as soon as you have a child.
It's an easy priority value shift. Hey, it's I was happy to do that when I didn't have something to go back to, but I'm just not there with that person to be away from this little one. Hey,
it makes a compartmentalization a hell of a lot easier to choose where you want to spend your time and energy. So I think just really focusing on those values and understanding those values is the first step, because if you're not aware of them, if you don't understand what your values are, then there's just not going to be any what would you call the anchor, or the coming back home.
I wish people could see what you're doing, because it definitely looked like you were having fun.
It's the wrong thing. It's pulling myself down, but it's not. It's pulling myself back to home, back to what I know matters.
Getting back to being you.
Getting back to being you.
Yeah, I love that. What about you, Josho? Obviously we've only touched on one of the 5 Fs, Simon, and we'll cruise back to that, but what are some things that help you stay in that happy space?
I think for me, health is a really big one. So I'm, I love my exercise and stuff, and I'm pretty obsessed with taking care of the body, as you both well know.
You don't look like this at your age, mate, unless you do, eh?
But for me, that's such a big driver, because it allows me, one, to physically do what I want to do, but mentally, stay in a really good space as well. I believe physical fitness is a massive part of mental health. So for me, I do carve out time in the morning, all my friends and family know I have a pretty obsessive kind of OCD, mobility and stuff like that I do, but it sets me up right for the day, and it makes me me. But I think fun is the big one. And like I said, that was the big one I felt like I was missing. I think a lot of the time when we're just driving to the shops, if I'm with my kids in the car, we're blasting the tunes, we're all singing along, we're dancing, because I'm making memories right now that they're going to remember. All these trivial moments in our lives are going to be core memories for them. So it's how do you create these really cool memories in, like I said, these in-between moments that we think of adults are it's nothing. I don't care, we're driving to the shops. But for the kids, it's we just had the best time. We're blasting these songs, we're dancing in the car. Really, really cool.
Man, my kids could rap 50 by the time they were 4 years of age, eh? It's just even cruising the drop-off this morning, I'm just cranking Chapel Roan, that like one of the songs, and I'm just like dancing, and like one of them's turning it down as we're coming to school. I'm turning it up, putting the windows down. So the only thing that was missing was like a flat brim hat.
Oh, that's so classic. Get some, what are those things that you put on your car tyres, just make it sound a little bit louder as well, like the thing over the exhaust pipe.
It's like Dad's double clutching coming into school.
Ben's doing manies around the school pickup.
I introduced Orlando to Metallica, and he was like, he loved like headbanging music. And my wife, Kat, she's like, no, like this isn't going to fly. Because it's normally like pop and stuff like that. And he goes, Dad, I like the heavy stuff.
Why do you think people get so serious and stop having fun as they grow up?
Honestly, man, I can say this from my own perspective. I just feel, from my perspective, it's like I've given so much to the pursuit of like a dream that I didn't realise. Like there's a great line by Kid Leroy. It's like, I thought my nightmares were my dreams. He's saying like, this is what I wanted, and every person that's where they wanted to be will tell you that. But it's like, I just got cut so many times that I think there's a thing called disassociation where it's easy to just not go there. And there's also just I've seen and done so much that like I lost some of that self. And then, you know, a few years ago we put the daily decrease, like the Bruce Lee thing, on the wall, and I feel like I'm not trying to become anything anymore. I'm just doing what I was created to do and becoming who I was created to be, and stripping back. We've all got kids, and many people listening to this maybe want them or have them. The kids are born perfection, present, spiritual, connected, joyful, light.
No baggage.
Nothing. There's no thought. There's no mind. And going for me on my journey, like as someone who I just feel like everything's been stripped, and I've died so many times while I've been physically alive. Like I literally wrote out a list the other day of like times that I've nearly died in my life and been saved, and there was like at least 11 times where I'm like, wow. I like should have physically
that
died.
Doesn't surprise me.
And it's just like, holy shit. And I
only 11, Ben.
and I was like, and then that's the physical. Like it's like getting electrocuted
Spiritual.
3 times or something. It's like, then there's the ego death, and then there's the knowledge death, and then it's like you've cracked your brain so far open, which we all train. Cracking the body on a Tuesday and feeling better by Friday is cool. For some reason, cracking the mind on Tuesday fucks up Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and maybe a month of your life. But it's like, it's the same thing. And so I'm just not trying to do anything. I'm just trying to do less, like go back.
What I heard there as well, like, or what popped up into my mind is like a lot of people are sort of running from the feeling, and it's like they've got this fear of failure. They've got this fear of not achieving or not succeeding or not becoming whatever they put in the future. And it's like, if you can just have that acceptance and just realize that like I'm perfect, I'm enough as is, and I don't need to become anyone else than who I already am, maybe that like kind of takes a little bit of the pressure off, and just go, hey, like just actually let it happen, like experience that thing. And if it doesn't work out, and if it ends up being a challenge, like, man, you've been through it, right? And like all of the negative experiences, quote unquote negative experiences that you've gone through out your life.
Positive, man. You cannot become without doing.
That's what I'm saying.
You
so it's
cannot.
like we run from it and we fear it, but it is actually what allows us to become the better version of ourselves. It's kind of that duality of life.
Our favourite thing to watch is someone going through something hard, which is every great song, every great movie, every great sports saga is like hardship and working through pain to become.
And we love it.
And we love it. It's just like, I love watching it, but hearing you say that, I want to
avoid it.
I want to like practice it. If in my own life, it's so beautiful. Like all I can watch is like someone going through shit and then coming out the other side like the best. But it's like so hard when you're doing it.
I think there's a huge reality to the world that we live in, which is the whole purpose of this conversation is like, through building wealth, achieving those goals. Like we live in a capitalist system. That's just, you know, take it or leave it. It is what it is. So
The 3 pills.
money is, you know, makes the world go around. Having money allows you to put better food in on the table. get access to better education, access to better healthcare,
Better surfboards.
better surfboard, legit,
holidays.
Let's get real about it.
better
Sorry.
holidays, like all of it, right? Like money does buy you better things. It actually does. And so I'm going to say it. I like the finer things in life. I like the capitalist system. I like having the choice. And it's like, I'm not on that level. Like, I don't want to drive Lambos. Like, I don't need to get to like crazy high level status. But, you know, I remember the first car that I drove, it was a hand-me-down from mum, and it was like a beat up, same as you, van, like mama van. And it's like, it was humbling. You know, all of my friends are driving around leased 4-wheel drives, and I'm here in this mama van, and you know, just like,
Tell me people didn't have more fun in that car though, eh?
I
Because
know they did. We used to put up.
I just want to buy another Toyota like van just to like sit in the garage for Sundays.
Don't try this at home, kids, but we would put up, it's a front wheel drive, we would drive over 2 Macca's trays in a car park and on the back wheels and just start doing it, eh? Burnt out in the car park. Oh man. But those humbling things, it's like, you know, now I get to drive a nicer car, and it's not like anything spectacular, but it's like, hey, this car is a lot nicer. So at the end of the day, building wealth is important to have access to.
Without a doubt, man. Like some things that I sort of thought, and I'm just jumping in there without any lead into it, but like I'm going there. Like when I'm good, for me, like the foundation of my life is always been spiritual, and so when I'm connected to like God, or for other people they might call that creator or source or whatever, it's surrender to me. It takes so much of the pressure off me. Family, my wife and kids, friends. I know I'm in a good place when I'm seeing people. Like I've read all the Blue Zone stuff. I've watched all the docos on the people that live the longest. Community is so important.
I know when you're having a tough time because I don't see you. You disappear, and I know, and that's why I know I need to give Benny a call because he's having a tough time.
Yeah, like I'll slide into that, or I'm just injured.
Or just spending time with your fam.
Yeah.
You know.
Normally when he's under the pump though, that's when he sort of goes MIA, and I'm like, okay, I need to give him a call. I need to check in.
And work-wise, like I believe that we can have everything we want in work and life, and I believe you can have super meaningful, super purposeful, slightly challenging work that is service-based and still make phenomenal money. You know what I mean? Like I truly have always believed that you can have it all in work, and I think our dad showed us that he might not be in work like this, if you know what I mean, like this sort of work where it's aspirational and it's visionary and it's holding someone's hand and it's cool. Like got a message from a dude the other day, bought a place for 500k, just sold it for 1.4 mil. That was 6 years ago. That's cool to be a part of a journey, but our dad has found a way to be able to like enjoy that, finding meaning in work and purpose and service. And I think it's possible where you are. Like spiritually, there's that sow where you are and make the most of what's in front of you. And by doing that, greater things come.
I think, just sorry to interject, just a bit of context there. So like, Dad has worked in a factory his whole life since he was 16, 17 years of age. Yeah. He puts ink on paper as a printer. Yeah. Just for a bit of context.
Yeah, like
he's doing the thing that most people don't want to be doing. Yeah. And he's done it for 50 years now, over 50 years.
In an industry that for the last 15 years since the internet has just been declining, and he's just thrived because he cares about other human beings. And I'm so glad he does and showed us that, because we took that and we do it.
Because people could say like, oh, it's all well and good for you to say, like, you work in real estate, you're doing the job that everybody wants to be doing. And it's like, yeah, but like there's examples of this, like even some of my mates in Sydney that are chippies, brother-in-law that's a chippy, love it. Yeah. Absolutely obsessed with the process, with the starting from nothing and then creating this like beautiful physical thing.
I think it's super important for us to say that, because I got my first job when I was 13. Like I just went door knocking. I wanted to make money because I wanted to get Billabong boardies. And I just had the sickest clothes from about 14 up. I spent all my money on, because I know people start drinking early, but I was just into surfing, skating and like wearing cool clothes. And that was my whole thing, plus soccer. But I think people forget now that we talk about this stuff, like where we came from. Like where we came from is cleaning beds, pouring beers, carrying tiles. Like I did 7 physical years of labour, like waiting tables. Like it's just, and then stumbling into a career and then stumbling into another one and then stumbling into another one. Like with everyone goes through the hard stuff. It's just so hard to see the person at the point where it looks like it's worked out. I mean, I don't think anyone looks at this and goes, these guys have it fully together. But
who does?
yeah, who does? But I mean, there's just so much to it. And then I suppose for me as well, health, morning routines are just phenomenal. Like you guys were talking about.
I think every single one of us wrote something down about it.
Fun is so important to me. Like freedom is like one of my top values in fun. And what that looks like to me is surfing, being in nature, caravanning, and then traveling. I read this great book years ago called Awe, and it was just part of the joy of life is taken as we age because we stop putting ourselves in environments that create awe. I travel so much for 2 reasons. One, it mentally breaks me out of my routine, which for my personality, I can be so routine-y that I'm unstructured, like inflexible. And then it breaks me out of that into an awe where it's like there is so much more going on than me. And I think I thought of originally, and it probably was running away from uncomfortable feelings. And now I just realize it's like I'm just obsessed with an adventure. And it's like I love getting out of my normal environment to reset and to like hear my intuition and get like what God's calling me to do. Like when I'm good and happier, I'm lighter on myself and I'm playing offense, not defense. And I think you can start building a moat around yourself as you get into your late 30s or 40s of protecting what you have, who you are, what you think you know. And it's like, fuck that. Like, I've lived my 30s like that, and I'm just like, that is just so dull. Just grow. Just keep moving.
As you said before, it's having this abundance mindset, believing that you can have it all. And if you believe that you can have it all, it takes the fear away from losing it all. Because if you already have everything that you need and you have the true belief that you can attain anything that you want, then like nothing really matters. If it's taken away from you, you just rebuild it again. That gives you such freedom.
I use the language like everything that I have materially and in form is just on loan. It's not, none of it's mine. Like we're custodians of like, this shirt's sick. Like, man.
Still waiting for Ralph Lauren to hit us up for a partnership. Might be waiting a while.
We must have missed a lot of his calls.
Come in for the boys. Far out.
I think you raised a really good point though, Benny, about, you know, there are hardships and stuff. And we've spoken about, I know a lot, it's like, hey, this is what got you to the dance. You know, this is what got you to this point in time right now. All of those hardships made you the individual that you are. I think that's so critical. Like you said, no one gets to a great place without going through some hard times. It's essential. And to your point about awe, that sort of just resonated with me then, thinking part of my values as well is freedom. And I see travel as a way of freedom. You know, like we all grew up with not that much money. And I think that's why, you know, finance is important because we know what it looks like when you don't have it and then what you can give to your family when you do have it. And that was like a big driver for me. It's like, no, I want to give my kids a life that I was dreaming about, you know, that sort of that feeling, like that made me really happy. And part of that was getting outside of Australia, going to amazing places and just, I never thought about it, but awe is probably a huge part of it. Like I remember being in Canada, sitting in the mountains, literally pulled off on the side of the road, I was just taking a piss, right? But I can smell the pine trees. I'm out in the middle of nowhere and I was like, okay, if I wasn't a surfer, I'd be a mountain man because this is amazing, you know?
It's
like
so beautiful
swimming
up there.
in glacial lakes and my kids were just like, what is this place? I'm like, there's so
I
much
want to go
in
there after you hearing you
So
say that.
cool. So cool.
It's just like the freedom of being able to say yes. Say yes to the things that you want to be able to do. And it's like without building wealth, without having some sort of financial stability, you just don't have the freedom to say yes to the things that you want to say yes to. I've seen it with friends that have chosen a different path. And then I've seen it with friends that have gone a lot harder than I have. And just being able to say yes to those things is just like a really nice feeling. There's so many funny little stories of that do pop up. I'm not going to elaborate into many of them, but just like a funny example, on the weekend, I'm just hanging out with my little man. I took him into BCF, and I just like I saw these sick pair of like little 1-year-old shoes.
The fish croc ones.
They're like these sick little Quicksilver, like real trendy ones, and I'm like, I'm getting them for Tanner. Got home, showed the missus. She's like, they're so cute. How much did they cost? Didn't even look at the price tag.
Yeah.
Like that little thing. So I like the shoes. I tried them on. They fit him perfect. I just buy them as opposed to like thinking, oh, I got to fit that into the budget. You know, got to make sure that works. Just like, no, I'm just going to say yes to the thing that I want to get.
Dude, I love that because I went away, as you know, like last week or the week before with Cove, and we went into BCF, and he's like, that bow and arrow's sick. And I'm like, that bow and arrow is so sick. Like, if I had a bow and arrow growing up, actually, probably 3 of my mates would have been shot.
You'd have actually 2 or 3 near-death experiences.
But I got him that, and then we're walking past, like, the headlight thing drawer, and we get some mad headlights, because at night we go exploring in the dark, like, at home, just looking for spiders, like the thing. And then I'm like, oh, those knives are actually sick too. And so we're like, let's get a couple of knives. And we're just in the bush shooting shit and carving stuff for like non-stop since then. Like, it literally sits on our dining table, the bow and arrow, and we just wake up in the morning and go shoot stuff. No live things, like, thankfully, but he's like a wicked shot too. Like, he's putting this thing, like, he's a way better shot than me. But I'm like, I dreamt of that. Like, I dreamt of that. Like, we went to the motor show growing up, the motor and boat show every year. I'm not sure if you remember it. Dad aspired to it, and every year on my Christmas list and birthday list was like a PW50, an 80, a 125, a 250, and I'm like, that bike never came, and I get it now, because I'm like, who had $6,000 to go buy a bike at that time? No one. But I'm just sort of like reliving my youth through my kids a bit. Like, I'm just fully just same as you, like, just like, I'm always now, because they're getting older, I'm like, you can have anything you want if you're prepared to save for it, work for it, or ask for it. And then sometimes I'm just like YOLO, and I'm like, man, I wish I could have just got a sick skateboard on the day that I wanted it.
Yeah. I think to segue this into something that I wrote down, and this is for me personally, but I think it's relevant for a lot of people who have, you know, that high level of happiness, and that as if they're living the life that they're supposed to be living, is this ability to compartmentalize. And I think it's something worth talking about because, you know, having the ability to separate things allows you to kind of be where you need to be. And like, for me, it's like work is work. And, you know, a part of work, fortunately for me, it does allow us to kind of have the conversations about building wealth, because like we're in this office for 7 to 8 hours a day, and you know, there's times where we get to just chat, and naturally, because we're in that mentality, we're talking to other people, investors, about their goals and what they're aspiring to be and what they want to do in the future. So it's just, you're in that mode. But it's like, when you're in that mode, just leaning into it and being like, this is where I am right now. But then as soon as I like turn into my street at home, it's like, I'm home now, and home is home. And I try to separate those things. Yeah. Something that's massively helped, like I put a sauna in 12 months ago, and I do that like most nights. And that is like the real turning point for me, where it's like, you know, if I am still stuck where I was, it allows me to get out of where I was.
Is that a full-on state change before you transition into home? Because I've heard all pro athletes do that.
I wish it would happen sooner, because like I have my sauna after I put my son to bed. So sometimes there's a little bit there, but I just try and leave all the baggage, shoes off, straight in the backyard onto the grass, playing with the little one, and just in that moment, throwing him in the air, going down the slide, playing rough and tumble, having a good time, and just being in that moment, and not bringing my work home, not bringing my ideas of like, you know, doing projects or whatever it might be on that journey to build wealth. But it's like, no, like I've had that time. Now the time is to be here, because I know if I'm there with my son, when I put him to bed at night, I'm going to feel like, oh, cool. Like I got to feel that family value. I got to spend some good quality time with him. Whereas I've done it where I've come home and I've been highly strung in my head, haven't been able to let the day go. And then I'm, you know, playing with my son a little bit, but then I'm also talking to my wife like, oh, we got to do this, that, and the other. And then I put him to bed. I'm like, I just wasted a whole afternoon with my son.
I think that's so important, man, because most of us listening to this have 3 things. There's health, there's family, and there's big buckets within them. And then there's what I would call service, purpose, meaning / work. And most people like that I talk to, our clients are very, very good at filling 2 of those cups over the course of a week or maybe on a day. Like I trained and I worked, or I worked and I trained. Most of us are really, really, really bad at meeting that need for connection, fun, freedom, creativity, family on the same day as we're doing the sharper things. Work and health is very binary. Push, 1. You know, sale, 1. Bought, 1. But with family, it's like, I think the reason I felt so twisted in my values for so many years was because I either overdid the family thing. Like, I can overdo anything, man. Like, I can completely just as easily overwork or overtrain as I can over family, over friended. It's like, YOLO, I'm on the fucking fun train right now. Oh shit, I forgot to work for like 8 weeks. Like, the surf was pumping all summer. But I think what you said is like, there's 2 things there. There's the contrast of like, there's no light without dark. There's no good without bad. And I think the contrast of like, I just busted my ass at work and now I'm fully with my family is the tension of life. Like, how good are you at going from state to state or from like chunking things down? And then the second one is, and I think we had a convo about this morning, I think athletes do this incredibly well, because if the powers that be could, there would be 52 days a year of NFL season, basketball, baseball, soccer. They would run these people to the ground. If they could get 2 teams playing all year, they would do this. They're already extending every single one of these seasons in the world, because every extra week's 10 bill. And so they know that to get the best out of their athletes for their business is rest. And I read this incredible book, which is up there years ago, called Rest. I think I've become very, very, very good at breaking, resetting, because the benefit of a 3-day weekend can last 6 weeks. The benefit of like a month off can last a year. Even this morning, you know, you were like, hey, I've just been, you know, we're going through it. It's like heavy stuff. And I'm like, dude, just shut your calendar down and take a week off. And you're like, oh, I can't. It's like we almost don't give ourselves the permission, where I'm just like, I'm fucking out of here every 6 weeks to go recover. Because
do it.
And it's not just athletes, it's politicians, investors, business people, entrepreneurs, inventors, scientists, artists, writers. If the best that had careers till they were 80, 90, 100 did it, there's something in recovery. And not just the recovery, the happiness comes from purpose and meaning. And purpose and meaning come from clarity, and clarity comes from stillness. And you cannot get it and hear yourself with the noise of your day-to-day life. I don't believe, unless you're seriously special, people get it, but far out, you've either had to have gone through deep pain or you're just completely born enlightened.
Or you've, you know, done so much personal development that you start to figure it out. You know, like you go to the Tony Robbins seminars and he shows you how quickly you can change your state.
Change your states.
And like, you know, it can be taught.
You can anchor that quick.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a movement away, and so are you, from getting completely into high energy state. I'm just not as good at getting into lower frequency state, which is, I think it's easy to get up, it's harder to get balanced for me.
To chill and unplug. There's a really cool book. We had a guy at my previous company who spoke to us at conference. So he wrote this book called The Third Space. He spoke about exactly what you're talking about, Simo, where he would actually transition. For him, he built another room between his garage and his home. So that was the space that he was very successful, mind you, but he would go and he'd spend sort of 10 minutes, because he's like, the person you are at work, to your point, is not the best version of you at home. If you think about us in the workplace, right? Yeah, high energy and stuff like that, but we're really on. When we're with our kids, we need to down-regulate. It needs to be like, you know, 8-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, we need to bring the energy right down and just sort of be a bit of a passenger. We're so used to leading people, you know, and taking action. Sometimes it's just good just to sit on the sidelines and just be a part of it, you know, so.
And you got to meet them in their world as well. Like, I'm sure with you, like raising a teenage girl, like far out, man, like the problems that you have, the problems that she have are just worlds apart. But like, you know, everyone's problems are, what do you say? Everyone's problem is the biggest thing that they're going through at that point in time, or something along those lines. And it's like, it's all the same feeling, no matter who is experiencing it. They're just, different levels of problems, but like you got to meet them in their world and help them work through that sort of stuff.
It's so easy for me to do and for you guys to do because I didn't lose my inner kid. I never lost my, like, I've like had major injuries and stuff, but I didn't lose training either. I didn't lose adventuring. I didn't lose the pursuit of meaningful work. I just got fucking belted along the way. But it's like you recover really quickly from a belting. Like you look at pro fighters, man, it's like, is this guy going to live? 3 days later, they're like back at it training again. And it's like, even trauma, like serious trauma is like, you can recover from it all. It just the body's just doing it for you. It's like, get out of the way.
Conor McGregor's coach, John Kavanagh, he put it perfectly. He's like, you win or you learn. It's one of their two, and it's just like, you just taking those learns.
Getting a belting every now and then is the greatest thing to become and live your values, and for me to find happiness, because okay, I forgot again, smack. I don't want it that way, but it's like, it's sometimes just how it comes. Like sometimes it's just really hard to go to the next level without serious friction in one way or another.
I don't know how much we ever grow up. You talk about we're still young and mine. Like my family, they nickname me Peter Pan because I'm always trying to like live like, that kid life. But I don't even know how much we grow up. Like I constantly look at people. Now I'm 42, right? I'm supposed to be an adult, so I look at other people who are older than myself to look, okay, is this what an adult does? What's an adult thinking? All those kinds of things. If you're at the shops, you're like, they seem like they've got it pretty figured out and put together. But I'm like, all deep down, all of us want to have fun at some capacity and stuff. And like you said, that seriousness really gets in to take over. But I think it's all balance, right? We want to balance. We want to set ourselves up in our families. We want to make a really good income. We want to invest smart so we can have choices later on in life, and not be locked into a 9 to 5 to like 65 or what have you. And it's like, how do we enjoy the whole process as well? You've got the destination. We know how to reverse engineer that and create a plan and, execute on a strategy. But how do you enjoy it along the way as well? So it's still fun.
Absolutely.
You're still enjoying it.
Can I say something to that? Sorry, Simon, but I remember listening to the Oprah Super Soul podcast with Eckhart Tolle, and people could call in, and I thought when I was listening to it, there's one question that I want to answer, which is, you guys say that you are the most present, enlightened, their words, people in the world, like they're really buying their own special sauce, these guys, and we all know that. And yet Oprah's running a multi-billion-dollar industry thing where she's probably making $20-30 million a week where she's not even trying for it. And Eckhart Tolle is a successful author, speaker, and he's got all of these online marketing things constantly selling themselves. And someone asked in the audience, like, how do you balance thinking about the future and moving towards where you want to be with being hyper present in this moment? And they're like, we carve out chunks of time in our day-to-day for future thinking, for future planning, for work. And then once that's over, they're very, very good at mastering immediate state shift back into the moment. Like with that Olympic coach that I've been doing the stuff with, Nick Fanning's old coach, he said, you need to get better at transitioning from like morning routine sets me up for a great work day, but I'm not great at going from a great work day into a great evening. Very, very good at going Friday to Sunday, completely switched off. What business do we even exist in? But he said, just get on the assault bike for 2 minutes and your state, don't think about it. You can't think your way into a better state, but you can physically change the chemicals in your body and move the energy, and you'll just be there. And it's like, I keep forgetting to do it, but I know it works.
I love it. So I wrote take action, and that's definitely relevant to this part of carving out that time. And there's a huge difference between real focused activity and then just doing something. Yeah. It's like, if you can carve, and this is what I say to every single one of the investors that we work with, I'm like, if you can give us 30 minutes to 1 hour of your focused time and energy a week, you will achieve your goals.
Yeah, we'll give you freedom back.
I can guarantee you're going to achieve everything. And I do it. So I say take action. And it's implement the next thing. And it's sometimes it's not about carving out the 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours to future plan. Sometimes it's just implementing that immediate next thing, like the Jeff Bezos model. It's book the meeting with the broker, book the meeting with the accountant, book the meeting with the financial advisor. Don't think about it. Don't talk about it. Don't search online for different organizations. just book the meeting. And then that's just going to naturally snowball. And then it's like, when they get back to you, they're going to require some information. It's like, do it. Put the focus 30 minutes or hour into providing them with the documents, the information they need, send it off, then it's their job again. They'll come back to you the next week with the next thing that you need to do. And it's like, do the research as well. Like, in that 30 minutes to an hour, it's like, okay, well, man, I've seen you do it. Yours lasts about 6 hours, maybe longer, but you'll just like lock in. And it's just like the blinders are on. I watched this TV show. It's really funny, called Silicon Valley, and it's about this like
Epic
startup. It's just a comedy about this like startup tech business in Silicon Valley, and like when the coders are locked in, and you can see it in the Facebook movie as well. When the coders are locked in, it's just like, do not interrupt. Do not take their focus or attention away from where it needs to be. And it's just like, if you can do that, like, compartmentalize, find the time to carve out in your week, like schedule it into your calendar, and it's like, at this time I am doing this thing, and there is nothing that's going to distract me from being able to do that. Just watch your life change if you do that.
Big time. I love that, man. I'm so grateful you brought that up, and I think that's a really nice segue. Unless there's anything, did you want to add anything that you sort of wrote down?
Just what Simon was saying then about taking action. Like, we speak to a lot of people who are really successful, but a lot of people who have like achieved some crazy results who aren't the most, they're not super intelligent, they're not super really dialed into any specific thing, but what differentiates them is they take action. They've been given enough information to go to that next step, and they've just done it. That is the difference. Like, there's so many other people that, they might be a bit more intelligent, or they might have more money to invest or anything like that, but that person took actions, they've got ahead. And it's crazy when you see it like over and over again. Action is like the differentiating step.
I think you guys have both read Outliers, or at least definitely know Malcolm Gladwell, and they talk about that, like about the financial success versus IQ, and it caps out. And then there's also the Harvard study of like happiness versus income, and income, like in the old days, like 80 grand was about the highest level of happiness someone would have, and then there's like sliding scales. There's obviously choices and freedom you get from earning more than that, but then on the other side, it's like, like a lot of the people that we work with that are listening to this and that we want to work with are like super clever and kicking ass, like, because generally when you're kicking ass in one part of your life, it flows onto another part. Maybe someone listening to this started as just being a great mum or dad, a great friend, a great, like, really healthy, or really, really good at their career. And at some point or another, that whisper will come in of success in one area leads to success in another.
Life isn't that different, hey?
It's all the same. It's identical foundations, which is just what you said at the very start, Simon. Discipline and consistency aren't just a hack for building wealth, which we'll get onto now, but they're a hack for happiness as well.
Yeah. Just don't overcomplicate things. Like, life is a lot simpler than you believe it to be. And I think it's something a lot of people struggle with is having that community of like-minded people, those mentors and coaches that they feel as though they need. And I'm like, podcasts exist. It's 2025. Like, there is so much information from the people that you can perceive to be those mentors and those advisors in your life as well. So if you are lacking, it's just like, search the thing that you're lacking in Google or into Spotify or into Apple, and you're going to find hundreds of episodes of some genius that's super experienced that you can listen to.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So I wanted to start talking about, happiness. We all know, and everyone listening to this knows, people that are super happy and broke. We also all know people, and this is much more likely to come by, that are super successful and wealthy that are fucking miserable. And they're not mutually exclusive. I believe, again, like, this is the beautiful thing about thinking and looking at the world through awe, freedom, and just like a kid. Like, I believe you can be completely happy and healthy and have mad relationships and have purpose and be wealthy. And hopefully everyone gets that, like, once you've got wealth, pass it on. Like, we're not building wealth to be wealthy. We're building wealth to have time, to use our skills to help other people, or to just be super generous with your cash. Like, wealth for wealth's sake, I think is actually super disturbing. Wealth for service, and for freedom and for generosity, I think is really meaningful. And so the most important thing I ever learnt from our friend Percy, who is one of the business owners at the Entourage in Sydney, and Jack Delosa said this: building wealth is a skill that can be learnt.
Mm-hmm.
Communicating, health, like good relationships, they're all skills, but building wealth is like, this is what all of the millionaires do. Like, that's a pretty good foundation to start off. And so I wanted to talk about a few things here. Actually, I don't want to keep talking because I will.
So
I can just go down this
I'm
hole.
with you. Like, where do you start? So you start with learning, right? Like, that's the lowest hanging piece of fruit. Like, no matter where you are on your journey, you can pick up a book.
Yeah.
And so there's some incredible books that we've recommended over the years. But I think, like, if you want to build wealth and you're on the beginning of that journey, like, I personally believe Rich Dad Poor Dad is the #1 first-time book to pick up.
It changed every one of our lives and every person listening to this that's read it. I don't think the same anymore, and I only had to half read it once.
Yeah. What are some other books? Like, so you read that one, you start to figure out, okay, I got to build assets, not liabilities. Now I feel as though, okay, well, I need to choose which asset I believe in most, because Warren Buffett says that diversification is a hedge against ignorance. It's for those who don't know what they're doing. So it's like, when you've got assets and like you look at the umbrella of assets and the amount of different things that you can acquire, whether it be business, whether it be people, whether it be real estate, and then real estate has an umbrella as well, and how many different arms there is, you know, stocks, commodities, crypto, you name it. There's so many different types, but you've got to choose one, because you don't want to be the jack of all trades. Whilst life is transferable, you need to become an expert at one thing to then realize that the knowledge that you acquired by becoming an expert is transferable into other areas.
I don't think you want to look outside of your lane until you're 10 years into one asset. And I believe property is the foundational asset for anyone before the age of 40, because of only one thing, and that's leverage. You've got $1 million and you make 7% this year in the stock market, you made 70K. You've got $1 million and you go buy $5 million. This is a bad example, but this is like an elite example. But you go buy $5 million worth of property at, you know, let's just call it 5%. We're talking about exponentially different returns. 70K in stocks versus 250K in property, and it's like, it's the same money. Leverage is a gift. You can leverage crypto, stocks. You can leverage a lot of things, but not without the risk of like a margin call or someone like wanting that money back, man.
That's the risk, obviously, of leveraging into those riskier assets. So what makes real estate less risky compared to these other ones that people have the confidence to leverage?
70% mums and dads in Australia own them, so it's not an investment market. 100% of crypto is speculative investment, and so is stocks, gold, silver. But real estate is like 70% of the market. They want to make money, but they're doing it because they need somewhere to house themselves, and so it's not as liquid.
Yeah, I think it's designed as well, you know, like it's by design from the powers that be. Yeah, the Australian government, who probably took it from the Rothschilds or something like that. You can go down that rabbit hole if you want to, but like, I think it's designed. It's like Phil Anderson talks about it, the theory of economic rent, where all economic benefits in society trickle through and end up in the land values, and that's just a byproduct of the system that we operate within. So it's like, what makes real estate safe? Well, if you look at all of these different things, it's designed, you know, thousands of years of you know,
people wanting to live next to the waterhole or the beach because the food source is there, or people wanting to live in the town with all the good looking dudes. Like, Greece was built off just axes, the Spartans, like, and then like Persia was built off beautiful women. Like, it's like this, people want to live near the beautiful places or the beautiful people or the powerful people, and that's never been different in 10,000 years of history.
What I love about real estate and why we've chosen real estate is, like, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. You know, I went to university, and like the people that I went to university with.
You went to university?
they were so much smarter than I was, and you know, the reason I love real estate is it's simple. It's actually super easy to figure it out. Like, obviously there's a lot of nuance to it, and when you've got, you know, a lot of experience, it helps, but it's really not rocket science. Like, it's not as difficult as trying to figure out the crypto market or the stock market or like business. You know what I mean?
It's beautiful in that way. It's like, just find Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth. Find a place close to the city or the beach with a nice big block and an okay quality home on it. And if you've got a 15 to 30 year intent on that, then you are going to absolutely ball out. It's no more complicated than that.
I think
There's a few more things to it actually, but like it's no more complicated than that for the average person.
I love it because, for one, it's just a fundamental human need. You know what I mean? You look at like Pavlov's hierarchy of needs, like shelter is such a big one, right? So we're always going to need a place to live. And when I'm chatting to people on the phone, when we're chatting to our clients, it's been done before as well. Like you said, crypto hasn't been done. There are so many people who have generated wealth through investing in real estate. Like, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. You can follow like the process,
70% of Aussie millionaires were through real estate over the last 200 years. Like, that's a pretty big signal to go, okay.
Higher than that these days.
Yeah, it's like 100% of... No, crypto and gold and stuff are killing it. So I'm assuming there's people making bank right now.
But crypto's had some crazy volatility over the last month. They've had some of the most bizarre sort of like plummets and stuff like that.
Oh, you mean their 4-year cycle isn't a science?
But it's new as well, right? And like, yeah, there's high reward, but there's high risk as well. Like, as we know, like property is such a stable investment, bricks and mortar. It's something we understand. We're in it right now, whether it's commercial, residential. That's something that we're so dependable on, and it's a reliable thing. I just like the stability of it. Like, for me, it's a
100%.
safe thing, I've got a bit of crypto, but crypto scares the crap out of me. There's no way I'm putting a large proportion of my wealth into crypto, and just letting it
Imagine
sit there.
you did put your house on it a year ago and made 100% though. Like, there are people sitting there going, bros.
And
You
I,
missed it.
no,
You
no,
guys are
and
wrong.
you guys could do that. I'm not that. I don't. I want to be able to
can't do
sleep
that.
at night time. Hey, like that makes me so anxious. Like, it's too much.
My up to 31-year-old version of myself would have probably had a pretty good crack at it, but I'm a pussy now.
So like you figure out the thing that you're going to use to build your wealth with. You then obviously, I feel as though from there, it's like surrounding yourself with an incredible team of advisors as well. Like experienced people that have been there, done that, that are either on the journey but a little bit ahead of you, or like where you aspire to be in the future, that can just help you navigate the space. So like an incredible accountant, an incredible mortgage broker, an incredible financial advisor, an incredible buyer's agent with a lot of experience, great property managers, town planners, like builders. All of these things are necessary on the journey as a property investor. And, the lessons that I've learned and the opportunities I've been able to expose myself to have been because of the people that I've surrounded myself with as well.
I think that's really important, because the number one thing that I felt, and the number one thing that I think most of us feel as investors as we start to elevate our financial position, which has nothing to do with the quality of who we are at all. Like, there's the human being, the soul and the character of a human, and then there's just this system that we're in. And if you understand business and you understand investing, then you're gonna understand the sport that we're playing, which is how to like make money, right? And so it's like, that's a skill. But I think the big thing for me is like that lonely chapter of that journey. And if you can have one friend, colleague, or person in your team of advisors who's just a couple of steps ahead of you, like, if you're starting out, the likelihood of you getting direct access to someone who's done 20 or 30 or 50 properties is extremely low. Like, if you're just starting out training in the gym, the likelihood of you going and training with Arnold Schwarzenegger and him thinking that you're a great training partner for him is zero. Like, pro soccer players don't go to the park and kick around with people that aren't their kid. You know what I mean? It just doesn't happen. And so all you need if you're at ground zero is a mate that's got 1 or 2. And when you get to 1 or 2, you need a mate that's at 4 or 5. And when you get to 4 or 5, hopefully if you listen to enough content of ours to know that that's more than enough.
Well and truly.
2 to 3 is phenomenal. But, if you want to keep pushing it, then, like, what's that incredible thing where it's like, when the student is ready, the master will appear. Mm-hmm. And when, I didn't say it. Do you know it?
Yeah, it's the Japanese concept. And it's shuhari. When the student is ready, the teacher... it's gone.
Teacher will appear. And it's but the next bit's the most important bit, and people are like, chuck it in the comments, someone, I'm sorry for this, but it's like, the next bit is, there'll be times when you need to go through your own journey solo. Mm-hmm. It's very, very, very important to have periods that are just feeling like you're on your own and it's all hard and it sucks. And then the next teacher will appear, and then at some point, there'll be no teachers anymore, and you'll be completely tapped into intuition and source, and it will be like you'll be that person, but you won't think you are, because at the end of it all, you'll realize you know nothing. Like the further along this journey I'm going, in happiness, in family, in life, in property. The cool thing about property is it's like training at the gym. I get that. Like I get how to do property investing. I get how to train, but in terms of like knowing the things that actually matter in life, it's just like, oh my gosh, it's so far away now. I'll never get there, and then on my deathbed or like after death, I'll be like, oh man, I missed it all.
And that comes back to what Josh was saying before as well, about like learning to love the journey and learning to love that process, because like the destination is, what is it? Is it even a real thing? Probably not. It's like once you get there, you realize like you've got more to learn or you've got more to do. So it's just like, how can we learn to love that journey, learn to love that process? Because like at the end of the day, it's all you've got. Because once you get there, it's you got to reset the goals, you got to reset the, there's just so much to learn. As you said, the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. So it's like, well, how can we just learn to love the journey, love the experience, love the challenges that you face along the way? Know that, those challenges are there to like help you course correct or help you see something that you weren't seeing at the time.
How do you unlearn?
I love the analogy of investing as a skill, because like you said, like we can relate to sport. And I just remember, to your point as well, Simo, I played a lot of hockey growing up, played at a decent level, not the top, but you got a decent level. And I remember the guys in our team who did the best were obsessed because they loved it, because they loved doing it, they want to do it more. And when you're hanging out, like you're in a rep team or something like that, we'd play our game in the national championships, but then we'd get back to the hotel and we'd play in the backyard of the hotel. Like that's how obsessed we were. And it's the same with investing. You surround yourself with people who are like always energized, coming up with new ideas. It's infectious. So you're around that. You're not only loving it, but you're being exposed to more of it. So like you said, if you don't have those people around you, like go find that content, YouTube, go find it on a podcast or something like that, but immerse yourself in it, make it enjoyable, because that will then just make the experience so much more fun, and you're going to do more of it if you love it.
Absolutely.
I think it's important, and so the skill of building wealth is all of those things that you mentioned. And I think for me, the vision of who I want to be financially is very easy to set versus the vision of myself that I actually want to be. The vision for me, and we always talk about it, I want 200 grand a year of passive income. So what does that person need to do now? And I reverse engineer it back. And that's been very powerful. When I get to that point where I've reverse engineered it back, just the shortcut, guys, is either 3 houses with 3 granny flats to get to 200K in 15 years' time, or 4 houses that are all renting out will get you to 200K roughly if you buy the right ones now. If you want 100K, 2 houses, 2 granny flats. If you want to do it without granny flats, do just 3 houses. Like that's enough of a dose. But we get the vision of where we want to be. When I know someone's going to be financially free, I can ask them on the spot, what do you want? Boom. If you can't articulate what you want, then you're firstly not getting there. Like the wind is blowing you around. And the second thing is like there's no destination point. So the second thing I ask those people is, well, what's your goals for the next 12 months? Most people are cool. Like they're like, I know what the next step is. And so the next step is always to save money, to go get pre-approved, or to buy an asset. And it's just completely going around in a circle. So you've got your goals. If the vision is 150K a year or 200 grand a year of passive income, then my goals are buy 4 houses in a reasonable period of time. For me, or some people listening to this, you could go buy 4 now. When I started my journey, 4 over 10 years would have been like, whoa, like that is insane. How am I going to get the deposits? Like starting off earning 45 grand when I started investing, like it's really difficult to get deposits when you're earning 45K.
It also doesn't help anybody to be like, I want to buy 4 houses, but like you can't get to 4 houses unless you just get the first one. So it's like I talk to a lot of people that get too ahead of themselves. Like, I don't want this next one to affect the one after that. And it's
But
like, well, you haven't even got the one yet.
We haven't even done one. Like, let's get 2.
Let's just start to do that. And it's like, there's so many forces. So sorry to interrupt here, but I think it's super relevant. Like, I was able to do 4 with my wife over 2.5, 3 years in an environment where interest rates, retail rates were at 2%, 2.5%. Could I do 4 properties in 3 years now? Absolutely not. Not at 5 to 6, 6.5% interest rates. It's just unattainable. So there's external influences that do impact our internal decisions and goals. And that's the rough part about property, well, about building wealth in any way. There is external forces that are working against you. And what do? You just accept it. You roll with the punches. These are the challenges that you face along the way. Get used to it, because there's going to be a lot of times where you get rising interest rates and that affects you, or changes to government policy and that affects you.
The only consistent thing in the financial world is major change, non-stop. Oh, we let too much money into the system. We made it too easy for people. Handbrake. Oh, sheesh, we held the handbrake on for an extra year than we meant to. Floodgates open. And it is boom and bust for a reason, because there's only 2 market cycles. Yeah. So you've got your vision, you've got your goals. Your vision is I want 200K. Your goals are I need 4 properties. Then you need a plan. The plan should never be more than 12 months. And that's what created so much anxiety in me. Trying to plan so much for the future without understanding how far I could go in 10 years and overestimating what I could do in a year. Mm-hmm. So the plan is very important. My plan this year is to do nothing. Or my plan this year is to go buy my next property that's going to set me up. They're the only 2 things you can do as an investor. Then the team, as you mentioned before, and then taking action are the 2 next steps. Like, you're only as good as the weakest person in your team, but it took me until my 9th property personally to get that. And then taking action is what every person that is financially free in a 15-year period. I would like to say that accumulating your assets should take no more than 5 years to set up financial peace. And then it should take, with the right strategy, no more than 15 years post that point, if you know how to pay off debt and consolidate, to get fully free. And that's a long time. That's the problem here. The problem is the time frame.
Is it though, when you're going to live 80 to 100 years of your life, and you're going to work for 40 to 50 of those?
That's right. Like, it's not a problem for me, because I was a kid that ate the veggies and then the steak and then the dessert.
That's it.
It's only a problem if you want dessert now.
That's it. You just got to have that delayed gratification. You've got to have the acceptance that, like, it's going to take longer than what you want it to. And if that's the reality, it's like you've come from a 20-year career working in pharma, and I don't want to put words into your mouth or anything, but it's like, there's obviously many years where you loved it, right? But there was many years where it was a bit of a drag. And so it's like there's a lot of people that are doing things that they don't want to necessarily be doing. And that can be hard, because it's like, I know for people that work in tech or work in pharma, there may be a bit of themselves that's kind of twisted internally. They don't love it, but they're earning this big money. They're in the golden handcuffs and they can't get out of that reality. Yes, it's great for setting up and building wealth. And this is where the idea of financial peace comes into it as well, where it's like, eat your veggies first, have the delayed gratification, go fulfill your potential, go earn the big dollars in the big industry, with the intention that, like, I'm going to let go of that. I've got to let go of that. Our mate Ken, how long did he stay over in Saudi Arabia, chasing the big dollars, hating his life?
Yeah. His whole life since he left uni. Like, it's such big money, but it's like they just scare you into you're always going to get fired. We're going through another cut back. We're going through another restructure. It's like you're restructuring every 3 months and nothing ever happens. I'm going to get paid out. There's the carrot of like, oh, if you stay long enough, you'll get this redundancy. Or it's like the money is so big, or the reputation. It's like one of the things with Ken, who's one of our good friends, was like, I'm working on a $2 billion project. It's very difficult to go back to helping a residential home builder build 20 homes a year for 5 mil. It's very, very difficult to ego death, but I feel like ego deaths are phenomenal. Like, just keep dying as an investor, keep dying as part of your journey on happiness.
Don't think that, like, that is who you are. You are not what you do.
That's hard to unplug. So I went through like a pretty unique experience where I got to take 6 months off. So I did actually get a redundancy, which was amazing. But you're right, they're hard to come by. They're hard to come by.
I'm not speaking about us.
No, I'm joking. I was giving you a hard time. But what it gave me.
Hey, they can come, guys.
They are very rare though. And you're right, you get locked in. But there's this whole perception, right? It gave me this unique experience though, where I get to take 6 months off and be me. To your point, Simo, like, it's really weird. Like, you go from, like, I was working with a team of like, 10 to 12 people selling to GP. So nothing crazy, but you got big budgets and stuff. And there is this illusion of this level of importance of what you're doing. And some of it is important, but it's not as important as you think it is. But unplugging
This is
from that.
this too, man. This isn't pharma. I'm sitting here when you're saying those things. I'm like, real estate. How many years have I've loved this, and some years are like just so rough that you're like, I just want to unplug. Like, but because it's our business, the exit's not coming. You know what I mean?
But what it was cool about it is like, I took 6 months off and I tapped back into me as an individual, independent of my occupation, which I hadn't done since university. So it was like almost 20 years of where this is who you are. So for the first 6 weeks, and I think I spoke to you about this before you went on your trip around Australia, because I'm like, you're going to go through this weird feeling of like, hey, I'm checking my phone, there's nothing on there. There's no one calling me that needs me. There's this emptiness and it's uncomfortable, but you get on the other side of that. I'm at my street Christmas party, right? I'm chatting to my neighbours and they're all talking about work and all their problems. I had nothing to contribute. I could not relate on a single level. I was so just like, oh, that's where I used to be. And this anxiety and stuff, this letting go, man, I never felt so free. I did a lot of surfing, hang out with my son. I had a great time, but I had to get back to work eventually. But it was this unique experience. Like when you used to finish uni or finish the school holidays, you just went and just did whatever. And as an adult, you don't get that. And I always tell people, you ever get that opportunity, freaking take it. It'll change your life. Like it made me think about things completely differently.
And you're not the same now.
Dude, the reason I got to that decision, I'm literally in Vegas on this trip with my family, but my friend had his 50th. So we're at the Oakland Stadium there, the big one. There's 80,000 people. I'm watching the Red Hot Chili Peppers. And I just looked at them. I'm like, these guys look so free. I had this envy that came over me. And I'm like, oh, I'm not free. My life is not free. I got home within 2 days. I put in my expression of interest for redundancy and I'm like, I'm out. I just woke up one morning at 3 a.m. Friday. I'm like, I'm done. I spoke to my wife. She was like, let's do it. And it's like, it's crazy though. Like you make these crazy decisions, but what comes as a result of them with taking like huge risks is awesome.
And how many people don't have the confidence to do that, or the support from your wife to be able to like, you can do it. And then they wake up at 60 or 65.
And I didn't want to have that regret. Hey, I thought about it. Like, you play through these crazy conversations in your own head. And like, don't get me wrong. It's nerve wracking as well. Like, I couldn't find a job for a few months where I actually wanted to go back to work as well. But I would take that every day of the week.
Yeah, that realization of just like, I am actually in more control.
It is. It's bizarre. Like as an adult.
And finding yourself the way back to you as well. Stripping the layers, man. Like, we are not what we're talking about right now. We're not the roles that we do. Like, you want to do them well. The structure is nice when you're in the structure, and then when you're out of the structure, you're like, what the fuck have I been doing? Like, I just, people said, did you get bored on the beach going around Oz? Like, hell no. I would still be on the road now. There is an itch inside me to produce and have meaning.
Yep.
Without a doubt. Like, when you find your way into healthy amounts of freedom from good holidays, plus healthy amounts of freedom from working 4 days a week or having good breaks within meaning, there is something beautiful in that. But the freedom of like becoming childlike and living in the present moment with nothing on your head, oh man, I actually really miss it. Like, I know there's a lot of people listening to this that have done big trips and big chunks, and I highly recommend it. I know you've got a cool idea in the next few years that you'd like to go and do.
Yeah. Well, I've just heard
it's just
this.
Amazing.
I've seen what you did. I've seen what you've done, and like I've talked to lots of other people that have had the fortune of being able to do that, and it's like everyone's come back with like this refreshed feeling and this new sense of excitement for what's next as well. So yeah, it's just like you just got to observe and see what has worked for people, and then observe and see what maybe hasn't worked for people. And it's like, well, how can I kind of follow in the footsteps of those that have kind of had a better experience through this journey called life versus those that are maybe not experiencing the same quality of life, and a lot of the time it's up here.
Big time.
But I think like what happens up here, as we've discussed today, like if you can get out of there, it's kind of into actions, like move the body, move the breath, like get out of the head and into the body. But then at sometimes like you need to get out of the body and get into the head as well. But it's like, can you plan for that? Can you structure that? Can you?
Big time you can. And this is how you do it. You get to financial peace as quickly as you possibly can. And for most people that we work with, they could do that in 12 months if they really wanted to.
But let's be real, it's 5-10 years.
5 to 10 years. And then within that, you absolutely love the journey. And when you get to that point, you don't be afraid of making that decision to go to 4 days a week. Your boss will hate it for a moment until they realise what were you ever doing on the 5th day. And your performance won't drop, it will improve.
And how much happier they'll be, like all of those things. It's like
Attitude.
so many positives.
And then it's like you structure in mini breaks every 6 weeks, and every 12 weeks you have a bigger break, and then a couple of times a year you have a big break. I'm talking about like the science of rest and what the top, like the billionaires, the Stephen Kings, not Stephen Hawking's, but like that level of scientists, you know what I mean? Like the people that have the ability to make choices, it's very difficult. And I think that Jesse guy that we all like online, I just ordered a big calendar because I've realized in my life of investing and businesses and family and friends and health and travel that unless I start every year clean and put in the big rocks, and everyone's seen that thing where there's the empty glass and they put the sand in first and you can't get the important big rock in. Then they put the big rock in, the pebbles in, the littler pebbles in the sand. It's like if we don't structure our lives, like there is so much of me now spiritually that is like, it is day by day, moment by moment. I have no control over anything and I'm completely surrendered to wherever it's going to go. And then there's another part, which I heard Matthew McConaughey just talking about in his podcast. So good, his recent podcast. Who's that baller podcast guy? Diary of CEO. He talks about there's also grab the wheel, and there's that incredible thing, whether it's Buddhism, Hinduism or Christianity, of like the dude drowning on the roof and save me, boat, jet ski, sup, drowned, why did I die? It's like if there is an element to like grabbing the wheel of your own life and so what that calendar theoretically will do for me in 2026, I've never done it before, I've always just started with goals, is put the big rocks in first. I know that I'm going to wake up and 5 days a week do a morning routine. I know that I'm going to train. I know that I'm going to be there with my kids when I can be there. I know I'm going to show up day to day and have a very structured work calendar. But what are the things that are missing? Like the breaks, the rest, the recovery. Like we've all been on up for 20 years. But there's a big part of us that deeply knows how to recover, rest, enjoy, relax and switch off. And I think for me personally, that's the mastery that I want. And the last thing that I wanted to say on building wealth is the person you are on the way to creating what you dreamed of and what you wanted financially in your life is completely different from the person that once you get there to switch off and enjoy it. And I'm the perfect example of that. I'll just kick the goalpost a bit further down the line. When I get to this next thing, fairy dust, Gatsby the movie, when he is obsessing about the green light, which is his dream of her coming back, and then she comes back and he's still chasing the green light because he wanted the idea of her, not the reality of her. And we all have friends that are like, when I buy this property, I'll be happy. When I start this business, I'll be happy. When I own my own home, I'll be happy. When I've got that perfect partner. And it's like, no, you'll be the same miserable fuck you are right now. You'll just have more shit. Or you'll be the same working on yourself, growing, letting go, recovering, version of yourself when you get all those things. Like, these things don't change anything except the zeros in your bank account. And sometimes to me, I was a lot more free when I had nothing than I am now with like a little bit of cash in the bank. Like the structure of young kids that many of us have, of young businesses, of young investments, of not having 40 years like the boomers listening to this have had to like grow their investments up and just be there. It's like it's a crazy trip, and I think it's the trip. I think it's the trip spiritually of our lives of like, how well did you go keeping your hand off the wheel, but grabbing it when you needed to.
This is what I call like the pursuit of balance.
Yeah, you're the master of it, bro.
You know, well, it's just everything about me is in pursuit of balance, and it's always tipping the scales one side or the other. It's never even. It's never where you want it to be. You're always, as you said, like you've tipped too much into the family values, the freedom values, the finance values, like you're tipping all the time, and it's like, but if you're present, if you're conscious, if you're aware, when you tip, you have the conscious awareness to be able to go, oh, that's a bit too far down that side, minor adjustment, let's balance it back out, or a little bit too much. And it's like your swings aren't so big anymore, and they become lesser and lesser and lesser and lesser. And like one of the last things I'll say that I wrote down here, two things, is like, you know, deal with the problem. Like, don't kick that can down the road. If you're working too hard, take a fucking break. If you're partying too hard, stop partying. If you're like, just don't kick the can down the road, deal with the problem, and you'll just immediately realize that like you've got more control than you believe that you actually do. You have more free will. And also let it go. Have an attitude of gratitude. Like that's my favorite saying, is just like have that attitude of gratitude. Like every morning, every fucking night, count your lucky stars for being alive, for having a breath, for having a body, for having life. And at night, thank you for keeping me safe. Thank you for allowing me to go through this amazing experience, this amazing day again. And it's like, so long as you're alive, you've got something to be grateful for. And obviously, the more wealth you build, the more happy you are, the more things that you've got to be grateful for, the more full your cup is. I
agree with your point about gratitude. If you reflect, and no matter how bad things are in your life, guarantee you there is someone who's doing it tougher. And I teach that to my kids. I teach it to myself. It's like, you got to reflect, like if you're still here, like you're still in the race, right? You're still in this game of life and you can still play today. So it's like, that's what I really like. I think at the end of the day, whether you're investing, the way you live your life, you said it really well at the beginning of the potty, and that was, do it your way. Like, don't worry about other people the way that they're doing it. It's your life. At the end, when you reflect back on it, you'll have no one to thank or blame but yourself. So it's like, do it your way and live it true to your values. And that, I think, is the secret to just keeping that balance and keeping that happiness.
G'day guys, my name's Ben and I'm the director here at Pumped on Property, and I just want to say a massive thank you for watching our content today. Now, if you're thinking about buying an investment property in the next 3 to 12 months, then the team and I would love to offer you a one-on-one strategy session. In that session, we can talk about exactly where you are right now, where you'd like to be longer term, and we can deeply educate you on the Australian market. And then you can take that information and go and absolutely smash it on your own, or potentially become one of the small number of clients that we work with each week. To book your session, all you have to do is go to www.pumpedonproperty.com and click that book your free strategy session button. But either way, we wish you all the best on your journey as an investor to financial freedom.